Walk through downtown Baltimore today, you'll see lots of trendy bars and tantalizing restaurants. But if you turn back the clock 100 years, you wouldn't see a bustling center for food and entertainment. Instead, you'd be standing in the middle of a celebrated international capital for clothing and fashion.
Beginning in the early 1860s and continuing until after the Second World War, garment manufacturing and sales was Baltimore's #1 industry. Jump-started by the Civil War and heightened demand for military uniforms, it quickly became known as one of the country's leading producers of men's clothing, second only to New York itself. Scores of new factories opened up, fueling an economic boom that brought thousands to the city. Among the new arrivals was a large wave of Jewish immigrants fleeing discrimination in Germany and Russia, who rapidly filled positions throughout the industry. Entire families got into the trade, with men bringing home cut fabric from the factories for their wives and daughters to sew. Businesses sold everything from pants and shirts to dresses and shoes, though hats and umbrellas, in particular, proved to be extraordinarily popular. In fact, until as recently as 1981, Baltimore was known as the umbrella capital of the world. Over the span of a few decades, the once largely agricultural city reinvented itself, becoming a vibrant metropolis of industry and fashion. Unfortunately, the prosperity did not come without hardship. Many factories were extremely hazardous, with workers operating under intense and often inhumane conditions. 12 to 18-hour days were the norm, and because wages were tied to productivity, breaks were rare, even to use the restroom. Downtown Baltimore lacked electricity before 1881, so workers were forced to cut and sew in the dark. Even after lights were installed, most factories lacked suitable cooling and heating systems. Winters were freezing, and summers were blistering hot. It wasn't uncommon for workers to pass out from heat stroke while on the job. The extreme conditions in these sweatshops drove workers to organize, leading to the rise of unions. Throughout the late 19th and early 20th century, these groups advocated tirelessly for workers' rights, coordinating strikes as they fought for shorter workdays, guaranteed pay, and safer factory conditions. Unfortunately, these unions were prone to infighting, often being divided along lines of ethnicity and gender. A notable example is referred to by historians as the Battle of Scissors, an episode in which two rival unions physically attacked each other with cutting shears, clubs, and guns. However, despite their internal disagreements, the unions generally found success, slowly winning concessions from employers. World War I brought another era of growth to the city as demand for military uniforms again skyrocketed. By 1920, it was estimated that 1 in 5 Baltimore residents was employed by a garment manufacturer. Even the Great Depression failed to shake the industry, with factories providing stable jobs for employees throughout the crisis. Interestingly, it was the source of the industry's past prosperity that would also be its undoing. While past wars had come with lucrative government contracts for uniforms, during World War II, Baltimore's garment manufacturers received 0 federal contracts as shipbuilding and airplane construction were prioritized. Over the following decades, the industry was hollowed out even further as thousands left downtown for the suburbs, and manufacturing jobs were sent overseas. Today, nearly every major Baltimore garment manufacturer has closed its doors, and the city's once thriving scene is all but forgotten.
Yet some modern entrepreneurs are aiming to undo this. Brands like Christopher Schaefer Clothier are bringing clothing designs back to Charm City in order to restore Baltimore's reputation as an international hotspot for fashion.